People imagine night shifts as boring, quiet, uneventful, a chance to get paid while the world sleeps. But the night doesn't just hide things, it changes them. Buildings sound different after midnight, hallways stretch longer, machines hum when they're supposed to be silent. Security cameras don't just record, they watch. Night shift workers are the ones who notice when something is wrong, because they're the only ones awake when it happens. These are true night shift horror stories. Accounts from people who were alone, exhausted, and working when the darkness stopped being empty. Story 1. The Man on Camera 6. The guard had been working overnight security at the abandoned manufacturing plant for nearly 3 years, 12-hour shifts, one man, miles of empty concrete and rusted machinery. The cameras were old but reliable, 16 feeds, each pointed at a different section of the facility. He checked them every hour like clockwork. Nothing ever changed, until camera 6. At 1:41 a.m., the feed flickered. Not a glitch, but a clean, deliberate distortion. When the image stabilized, someone was standing in the center of the warehouse. The guard froze. There were no active entrances on that side of the building, no alarms, no motion sensors triggered. The figure didn't move, didn't sway, didn't shift weight like a living person. When the guard zoomed in, the face filled the screen. The skin looked stretched, like it didn't quite fit the skull beneath it. The eyes reflected the infrared light unnaturally, glowing flat and white. The mouth hung open slightly, but there was no breath fogging the air. The guard radioed in, reporting a trespasser. Then he did what he was trained to do, grabbed his flashlight and went to investigate. The warehouse was empty, no footprints, no doors ajar, no sounds except the echo of his own steps. When he returned to the security room, camera 6 was still active. The man was closer now, so close that only the face was visible, and the mouth was wider. Camera 6 shut off permanently at 2:03 a.m. The guard quit before sunrise. Story 2. The Call Light. The CNA had worked graveyard shift at the hospital for years. She knew every sound the building made after midnight. The elevators, the ice machines, the distant coughs. So, when she saw a call light blinking in a sealed room, she stopped walking. Room 312 had been closed for months. A patient had died there during a power failure, and maintenance never cleared it for use again. She told herself it was a wiring issue. Inside, the air felt stale and wrong, like the room hadn't been opened in years. The bed was made perfectly, hospital corners tight, except the mattress dipped near the edge, as if someone had just stood up. The call light shut off the moment she stepped inside. When she backed out, the hallway felt louder, too loud. Later that night, while checking assignments, she saw her name typed next to room 312. No one else noticed it. By morning, the room was removed from the system again, but her name stayed on the schedule for weeks. Story 3. The Forklift. The warehouse ran 24 hours a day, but after midnight, only a skeleton crew remained. One forklift operator, one supervisor, acres of shelving stacked higher than houses. At 2 a.m., the operator sat in the break room, watching the security feed while eating a vending machine sandwich. That's when he saw the forklift. It powered on by itself. Headlights flickered, engine engaged. The machine rolled forward slowly, deliberately, navigating turns it shouldn't have been able to make without a driver. It crossed the loading bay and stopped in front of the employee entrance. The automatic doors slid open. Nothing entered. The forklift idled there for hours, blocking the exit. No one was brave enough to approach it. By morning, the battery was dead, something that shouldn't have been possible as it was fully charged the night before. Story 4. The hotel guest who never checked in. The night auditor hated slow nights. Silence made him paranoid. At 12:38 a.m., room 217 requested towels through the automated system. The problem was room 217 hadn't been rented in weeks. He checked the logs. No key card issued, no payment, no guest name. When he called the room, someone answered, breathing loudly, then a whisper. We didn't finish. Security footage showed the door opening every hour on the hour. No one entered, no one exited. Housekeeping refused to clean the room the next morning. Story 5. The Morgue Freezer. The morgue attendant worked alone by choice. He trusted the dead more than the living. One freezer drawer wouldn't stay shut. He closed it, locked it, logged it. At 3:12 a.m., the temperature alarm sounded. The drawer was open again. The body inside had shifted, not fallen, not slumped, moved. One arm draped over the edge, fingers bent like they had grabbed something. When he checked the chart, his stomach dropped. The official time of death was listed as 3:13 a.m. He never worked another overnight. Story 6. The Radio Dispatch. The dispatcher had memorized every unit code, every voice, so when an inactive unit radioed in, she recognized it immediately. Calm, professional, familiar, requesting backup. The GPS ping came from an empty field, the site of an officer's death years earlier. She tried to respond. Static. The voice came back once more. I'm still here. That channel was permanently retired the next day. Story 7. The Cleaning Crew Rule. On his first night, the janitor was told one rule: never clean the executive floor between 2 and 3 a.m. No explanation. When he broke the rule, the temperature dropped instantly. Chairs were stacked in corners. Lights flickered in sequence, not randomly. At 2:17 a.m., every door slammed shut. Footsteps circled him for 43 minutes. He hid until sunrise. Story 8. The Night Shift Nurse Who Wasn't on the Roster. The nurse had worked night shifts at the long-term care facility for almost a decade. She knew every employee by name, every face by memory. Night staff was small. You noticed when someone new showed up. That's why it bothered her when she saw the nurse in the West Wing. She was wearing standard scrubs, hair tied back, clipboard in hand, moving calmly from room to room. At first, nothing about her seemed out of place, except no one remembered hiring her. When the nurse asked who she was, the woman didn't answer. She just smiled faintly and kept walking. Later, during medication rounds, the nurse noticed something strange. Several patients were already marked as checked, even though no one on shift had been in those rooms yet. The handwriting wasn't familiar. The initials didn't match anyone on staff. At 2:40 a.m., a patient in the West Wing flatlined, then another. When the code team arrived, they found something unsettling. Every patient who died had been visited earlier that night. The ones they were able to resuscitate all said the same thing. A nurse who stood at the foot of their bed, a nurse who told them, "It's time to rest now." Security footage was reviewed the next morning. The cameras showed the nurse walking the halls, but she never appeared in reflections. Mirrors showed empty corridors where she stood, and when she reached the end of the West Wing, she didn't turn around. She walked straight through a locked fire door that had never opened during the night. Records later revealed a nurse with the same name and appearance had died in that wing 20 years earlier during an overnight shift. She never appeared again. Story 9. The Factory Whistle. The whistle wasn't connected anymore. Everyone knew that, yet every night at midnight it blew. One night it didn't stop. Workers heard their names whispered from inactive machines. One followed the sound. He was found at dawn, standing inside a press, ears bleeding. The whistle never blew again. Story 10. The Last Clock Out. The clerk noticed the man immediately. Still, silent, unblinking. He pointed at the clock. When the clerk looked back, the man was gone. But the receipt printed anyway. One item sold. Time, paid in full. The cameras showed the clerk speaking to empty air for 10 minutes. He quit the next day. Night shift workers don't just work different hours, they occupy a version of the world most people never see. A world where buildings breathe, machines remember, and empty rooms are never truly empty. Where whatever lingers in the dark knows exactly who is awake to witness it. Most of these people didn't go looking for something terrifying, they were just trying to make it through the night. And when morning finally comes, the world pretends nothing happened. The lights turn on, the noise returns, the stories are dismissed as exhaustion. But the night remembers, and tonight somewhere, someone is clocking in, unaware that whatever waits in the dark has already noticed them. Please like, subscribe, and comment a video you would like to see next. Click to the left for another banger video, or to the right for a whole playlist. Stay tuned for more tales from the Fiend, and always remember, you are being watched.